Things are slowly coming back to normal for your Golden State Warriors. I got the voice of the Santa Cruz Warriors, who's sort of like the foundation of the Golden State Warriors, right? Kevin Danna, how you doing, brother? You ready to go?
Hey, doing great, Cyrus. Thanks for having me on, man.
Beautiful. Let's do this. This is Locked On Warriors.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We're free and available on all platforms. He's Kevin Danna. You can follow him on Twitter at Kevo408. I'm Cyrus Saatsaz. You can follow me on Twitter at DogSurfRoadshow, and you can follow this program on Twitter at Locked On Dubs. Last night, the Warriors finally started resembling the Warriors we know. A very convincing win over the Dallas Mavericks. And with me is the voice of the Santa Cruz Warriors, the G League affiliate of the Golden State Warriors, Kevin Danna. Kevin, how are you doing, brother? And give us your immediate feedback, your first thoughts from how you felt and thought from last night's game against the Mavs.
Yeah, my first thoughts were that's more like it, right? Like
Yeah.
it's, I mean, 4-1 on the road on the homestand so far. You're not going to complain about 4-1. I mean, you could complain about the loss to Indiana. That was frustrating. But I mean, this was kind of the Golden State team we saw the first 21 games or so of the season, kind of up through the Christmas game against the Phoenix Suns on the road. Just, I mean, anything you wanted to see outside of Steph hitting like 50% of his threes, you basically got in that game. Klay with his best game of the regular season. Jonathan Kaminga, albeit a lot in garbage time, just dominating. And Steph having a really nice floor game overall. Looney being Looney. Poole off the bench. I mean, we can get into all of that, but just like, all right, that's more like it. That was kind of the first thing that came to my mind.
Oh, heck yeah. And I'm actually going to for the people watching on YouTube, I'm going to display right now the box score from the game so people can kind of see like how the Warriors performed. Just to kind of recap, first things first, as the voice of the Santa Cruz Warriors, you see a lot of these youngsters up close. You're obviously doing your research, so when you're actually broadcasting these games, you sound like a professional and not like an amateur. And on a side note, by the way, for people who are not familiar with Kevin, he is a pro. I fully endorse you if and when the time comes when you become the next voice of the Warriors. And that's going to come at some point. I think you're the obvious successor. It's just I don't know how old your predecessors are and how much longer they're going to stay in those seats. But you look at Jonathan Kuminga closely, especially you look at Moses Moody closely. These are two particular players who seem to be bouncing back and forth between the Warriors in San Francisco versus Santa Cruz. I guess first things first, man. They both seem to light it up when they play for Santa Cruz. In your opinion, like, do you think they're ready to play on a more regular basis? And why do you think Steve Kerr is so tentative in giving them the minutes that I personally think they deserve?
Yeah, so I think Jonathan is ready right now. I mean, 22 points in 18 minutes for the first time this year and I check this about once a week, so maybe it's not the first day, but the first time this year I've seen him crack the top 20 in rookie scoring because he's got up to 6.8 points per game. He's just behind Ayo Dosunmu. I think that's 6 point. Ayo Dosunmu is around 7. He's behind Ayo Dosunmu by 0.1 rebounds per game to be in the top 20 in rebounding. But he is making his way up the rookie ladder, which I like to see. And the thing with him is Kaminga's playing 12 minutes a game, and the rest of these rookies are playing 20 to 25 plus minutes a game. So I think Kuminga has certainly kind of proved himself. And really what I kind of saw as being the taking off moment for Kaminga, and I'll get to Moody in a little bit, is when he was with Santa Cruz, they played at the Memphis Hustle the night before the Warriors played at Memphis. So everyone, kind of the Warriors staff kind of split itself, and the players and staff split itself between going to James Wiseman's high school retirement jersey night and going to to the Santa Cruz Warriors Memphis Hustle game, which is in South Haven, Mississippi. It's like 20 minutes south, 15 minutes south of Memphis, something like that. And Steve Kerr and Jama Malalea, one of the assistant coaches, were in attendance. And Jonathan Kaminga.
Nice enunciation, by the way. Sorry to interrupt, but what an enunciation there, brother. That's not easy.
Well, thank you. Hey, that's G League training because Jama Malalea was the former head coach of the Raptors 905, so I had some practice saying that name before. But to be quite frank, Jonathan did not play well. And it wasn't that he didn't play well. I mean, 11, 8, and 8. It was the 3. I think he was like 3 of 12 from the floor. The 8 rebounds, 8 assists. Yeah, that's fine. But he didn't play hard, and it was evident. And like Drew Schiller, my color commentator, fantastic.
Love him. Yeah.
Commentator. Yeah, I mean, he was pointed out at pretty much every play. It looked like he was going out there to get a sweat and not to like play hard. And Steve Kerr basically said as much to him and to the media. And since then, he's been playing hard. And since then, he's been in the lineup, in the rotation with Golden State. A couple of starts sprinkled in there when Otto Porter Jr. can't play. Now Otto Porter kind of has that Draymond starting spot for the time being. But I think that kind of like got into him a little bit. He's only 19 years old. And playing hard, you'll hear people say playing hard is a skill, and it is something that needs to be developed. He just didn't bring it that night. And since then, I feel like he's really brought it. I think that message has kind of set in with him. He's taken a lot better shots. His three-point percentage, Anthony Slater tweeting it out, or actually in his latest recap, he's 41% from 3 since the month of December. Now, 18 of 44 isn't a huge sample size, but it's not nothing. It's not 4 of 10. So, exactly. Yeah, so that's what I like about. I think Jonathan is ready to be a rotation player in the 12 to 15 minutes a night range. Why
and
not?
Just to interrupt you, just to interrupt you real quick, is that the reason why you think? Because there's been a lot of chatter, some speculation about why Kaminga was pulled from the starting rotation. Because Kerr literally came out and said he's our starter until Draymond comes back, and then like just the short time later he's out. So you're saying you think the reason why is because of a lack of hustle and effort, and that was the message that Kerr was conveying to Kaminga?
So let me clarify. So he got pulled out of the starting lineup. That was all after like. So when he got it, so if I'm getting my timeline right, that all of this has happened after that game. It is not because it's not because of lack of a hustle in a Golden State game. And like I think he had started in Golden State games after that game, that G League game in Memphis I'm talking about. So that wouldn't have anything to do with it. I don't think like his recent benching has anything to do with a lack of playing hard. I think he has played hard. For the most part for Golden State. He said it in his post-game presser last night, Steve Kerr, that it's not, I think, what was the word? An indictment of his play that he went to the bench. I mean, like, all right, maybe Jonathan Kuminga, all right, he does have a higher ceiling than Otto Porter Jr. Let's not kid ourselves. But right now, Otto Porter Jr. is the more accomplished NBA player.
Yeah. And
I think it's tough to take Otto Porter Jr. out of the lineup when he has the experience he's had, when he's having the season he's having, north of 40% from 3, big-time rebounding, big-time shot making. It's tough to take that guy out of the starting lineup when Draymond Green is out for however long he's going to be out. So I think that's why he's not in the starting lineup right now.
Gotcha. Okay. Sorry to interrupt you with your, I know you were rolling there, man. I just, a lot of people are talking about like, why isn't Kaminga playing more? Why was he suddenly? And so you think it's just a simple matter of who the better player is, which in your case is Otto Porter, or what you're saying is that Otto Porter Jr. is just a better suited player for a championship pursuing team. That makes sense. I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, Kuminga's 19 years old, and I think he is an NBA contributor right now. And I think he's perfect in the role he's playing right now. If you can get 15 minutes a game out of Jonathan Kuminga, like what he gave you in 18 minutes last night, if he's going to give you 10 points, if he can get his averages up to, by the end of the season, like 8.5 points and 3.5 rebounds, I think that's a very good rookie season in like 15 to 16 minutes, maybe 14, 15 minutes a game. Yeah, he's not going to be getting Josh Giddey minutes, but like Josh Giddey is on a team that's like 14 and 32 right now.
Right.
And all they're doing is playing young players. Jonathan Kuminga is competing for an NBA title this year, and it only makes sense. And especially, and honestly, when Draymond comes back and if Wiseman's able to contribute, I actually don't know if Kuminga's minutes are going to get north of 12 per game on average, right? Because the front court. And he can kind of play wherever, but like big bodies are coming back to the lineup at some point. So the minutes might not be there. And again, as Steve Kerr said, not an indictment of his play. It's just you got a lot of guys to contend with that can help you win a championship.
Right. Well, I'm going to stop you for 1 second just because we got to pay some bills. But when we come back, we're obviously going to talk about, because you had a lot. I know you probably have a lot to say about Moody. And all this stuff you're telling the audience about Kaminga is incredible, because I think a lot of fans are getting impatient about seeing more minutes from him. You also brought up a name that I really want to touch on, which is James Wiseman. We'll talk about that and so much more with Kevin Danna. Again, you can follow him on Twitter at Kevo408. And Warriors fans, if you love the Warriors, Kevin is someone you should be following. I mean, he's a play-by-play voice of the Santa Cruz Warriors, and just because you're in Santa Cruz most of the time doesn't mean your ear isn't on the pulse of what's going on with the Golden State Warriors. But first, let's talk about PrizePicks, a longtime sponsor of Locked On Warriors and just the Locked On Podcast Network. You've been hearing people talk about PrizePicks for months. Have you signed up yet? If you haven't, now is the perfect time. For a limited time, PrizePicks has an exclusive no-brainer of an offer. For all users, you get $50 for free if a player in your first PrizePicks entry scores just a single point, but you must use the code NBA. Again, if you use the code NBA, all you need is just one player in your first PrizePicks entry to score just a single point. And this exclusive offer is available to Locked On fans only who use the code NBA. PrizePicks has the best NBA daily fantasy sports prop game on the market. It offers more NBA props than any other DFS prop operator and offers all the superstar players as well as bench players, only recording a handful of minutes each game. So check it out. Head to prizepicks.com and sign up. It's fun. And again, if you use the promo code NBA, you get $50 free if your PrizePicks entry only scores a single point. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy.
And Cyrus.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. When I press that button, dude, it's too late, man. What were you going to say, Kevin?
I was just going to say, talking about the daily fantasy thing, that is the one drawback of broadcasting for a G League or NBA team. I wish I could bet on sports, but I can't.
Are there rules against that?
Yeah, you can't do it, and so I don't bet on sports, but I wish I could. Let me just put it like that.
So Kevin Danna was not one of the people who profited off Draymond Green playing 7 seconds during Klay Thompson's first game. Because people who had the inside source on that killed it. And I've heard speculation that the bookies were not going to accept that wager and we're not going to grant winnings for that. But anyways, we got Kevin Danna here. You can follow him on Twitter at Kevo408. He cannot bet on games, unfortunately, so sorry for missing out on PrizePicks and anything else related to sports gambling. But you do have tremendous insights when it comes to the Warriors and especially the younger Warrior players who make the frequent trip to Santa Cruz. So anything you want to finish up on Jonathan Kuminga? I mean, again, last night, tremendous performance from him. And we talked about it again, 22 minutes and I believe 17 minutes of play, just a phenomenal stat line. And so what do you see for Kaminga, I guess, wrapping up that topic? Like, do you think his minutes are just going to be the same as they are, playing 15 to 20, possible scrub time? Or do you think he's going to actually start playing real meaningful minutes? I mean, finish up your thoughts on Kaminga, please.
Yeah, so, I mean, to me, I define meaningful minutes as anything that is not garbage time. And so, I think he will have meaningful minutes. I just think it'll be tough for him to get his average of minutes per game up north of 15 by the end of the season. I think it'll be tough for him to top 13 minutes a game just because of, when you get Draymond and Wiseman back, those are minutes that won't be there as much for him. Otto Porter Jr. is playing well. You have to think about Andre Iguodala when he is available to play. Obviously they're being very cautious with him since he's at the tail end of his career. So there's just a lot of bodies for him to compete with minutes right now. But when he's out there, he's doing well. And I guess my final thought on Kaminga is I think he's a quick learner. And what I mean by that is that his quality of shot has improved so much from the beginning of the season. Like the 3-point shots he's putting up right now are a direct result of him taking a lot better looks, right? He's not forcing up. I can't remember the last time he jacked up an unnecessary three. Like every shot he's putting up from three is like wide open and within the offense.
Great call.
he's up to 34.5%, which, they tell you in math class, round up to 0.5. So 35% from three on the season. Like, for a guy who is 27% from three in the G League last year with Ignite, or somewhere around there, he was like mid to high 20s. Now he's in the mid 30s from three, and it's all because he's taking the right shots. And I know that that's something that has kind of been honed in, that they've talked with him about, and also about playing hard. And I feel like he took that message to heart, because there haven't been really complaints about him not playing hard since that G League game in South Haven, Mississippi against the Memphis Hustle 2 weeks ago. So I think he's a quick learner. He's asking questions. There was a story about him, like when they played in Chicago, and, he's like, oh, yeah, Steve Kerr played for the Bulls. He's like, hey, how many titles did you win here? He's kind of his basketball knowledge base, because of just kind of his upbringing, being from a different continent and everything. Like, he didn't grow up, he had to watch the NBA on highlights in internet cafes, right?
Right.
He have the knowledge base that American players do. So, like, he's learning as he goes on, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
It's incredible. I want to play the soundbite real quick. This is a Kaminga. I don't know if this was his first time answering questions in the post-game presser, but the highlight of last night's Mavericks game was probably that monster dunk.
Yes.
That was just eye-opening. And here's Kaminga talking about that.
Is that your favorite dunk this season?
I'll say, yeah, it's my favorite one.
What are the competitors with that?
I mean, I haven't gotten out like that yet, so just having that my first time, especially here, it felt good.
Jimmy G felt great, baby. So there you go. So what about, you bring up Wiseman, and that's a name that's really starting to become a divisive issue among Dub Nation, simply because, again, the sample size is small. Connor Letourneau, the beat writer for the San Francisco Chronicle, was on with me last week, and he said even he was surprised at the relative ambiguity of the Warriors in terms of the messaging. They never really publicized that he had a follow-up procedure until Anthony Slater kind of released that information. And like, is he going to play? I mean, I would love your thoughts, or even if you know anything specific. I mean, any information would help, but yeah, what are your thoughts? I mean, are we going to actually see him play this year? And how do you think he's going to fit in with this rotation?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I don't have the inside information on James Wiseman. They've kind of said it in the media. I heard it last night on the TNT broadcast that when he comes back, he'd start by playing in Santa Cruz, which I don't know that for sure, but like, okay, I hope that happens from a selfish standpoint. I want to see him in Santa Cruz. Hell, give him to us for a few games. Just let him work out the kinks. But I understand why people would be frustrated, because the messaging at first was that he would be back by training camp, and then training camp turned into the start of the regular season. They thought maybe he'd come back by Thanksgiving. There was that report that he could come back by Thanksgiving. Now, obviously, we're in 2022, and he hasn't hit the court yet, and it doesn't look like he's going to be coming back in the next week or so either. So it's not on the immediate horizon. I mean, I feel for James, right? He's got to be frustrated as all hell that he had that setback in December, which Anthony, in his reporting, Anthony Slater said is not uncommon to have that follow-up procedure.
Right.
But it's I feel for James. It's got to be a tough time for him.
Let's say best case scenario. Actually, you know what? We'll talk about the best case scenario when we come back with Kevin Danna. Again, you can follow him on Twitter at Kevo408. And I'd love to get your thoughts on, let's say, best case scenario. All-Star break comes and passes, and Wiseman's back in the rotation. I'm curious to know if you think he's going to be actually a player we can count on when the postseason starts. Because this is a championship pursuing team, and that's really what we're focusing on here. So we'll talk about that. Moses Moody, Klay Thompson had a phenomenal night. We'll touch on that and more as we slowly wrap this show up. But first, let's talk about Built Bars. Kevin, have you ever had a Built Bar?
I don't think so. What is a Built Bar?
It's a fantastic, yummy snack bar. It's a protein bar, more specifically, that tastes like a candy bar, and it might probably taste even better. My partner in crime on Locked On Warriors, Dieter Kurtenbach, swears by these things. They're dipped in chocolate, which alone sounds amazing.
Yes.
Most Built Bars only contain 130 calories compared to a candy bar, which has 240. It only has 4 grams of sugar, which is, whereas a candy bar has nearly 8 times the amount of sugar.
What kind of sorcery is this, Cyrus?
What kind of what?
Sorcery is this to get all that yummy?
I know. Well, I'm reading the copy, and they still haven't sent me any yet. I'm still waiting on it because I haven't tried one yet. But it's just everybody's telling me these things are amazing. Wes Goldberger, hosted this before me, loves these things, and they have 17 grams of protein. So here's an idea for the new year: go to all your secret treat stashes, wherever you hide your yummy munchies, and toss them out. Replace them with Built Bars. So many amazing flavors to choose from. My colleague on the Rick Barry Show loves coconut almond. I'm going to try to score him some of that. Cookies and cream is my personal favorite. They also got peanut butter brownie, raspberry, salted caramel, mint brownie, so much more. Built's always coming out with new limited time flavors, so check out Built.com often to see what's new. So go to Built.com, use promo code LOCKED15, and get 15% off your order. Just use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We're free and available on all platforms. And today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Check out PrizePicks.com and use promo code NBA, or go to your app store and download the app today. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. Kevin Danna joins me. He's the voice of the Santa Cruz Warriors. You can follow him on Twitter at Kevo408. You can follow me on Twitter at DogSurfRoadshow. And you can follow this program on Twitter at LockedOnDubs. James Wiseman, let's say best case scenario. In my opinion, best case would probably be after the All-Star break. What do you see? If let's say he comes back, he's healthy, his knee feels great. Every former player, almost everyone I've ever personally spoken to, loves this kid. They think the potential is sky high, like even beyond DeAndre Ayton. Like he might be a combo of like an Ayton and a Kevin Durant. I'm hearing crazy things about him if he actually ever plays, gains experience, and is healthy. For practical reasons, that's obviously not going to happen this year. But what do you see from James Wiseman if, let's say, he's healthy and he comes back in mid-February? Can he crack the rotation for the postseason? Do you think it's just going to be sparse minutes for him to gain experience? Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question, Cyrus. I mean, I definitely think he cracks the rotation for the regular season, right? Because, the Warriors are going to be safe in a playoff spot. At this point, they're 35-13. Oh, yeah. It would take a miracle for them to drop into the play-in round, right? So, obviously, you want to have as many home games as possible in the postseason. They're probably going to be good to host at least a first-round series. They might need to duke it out with Memphis for the 2 seed, and obviously they're still looking up at Phoenix right now. So they're not going to be throwaway games, but I mean, I saw enough from James Wiseman last year to think that, to agree with the people you've been talking about, Cyrus. I think this kid has a very high ceiling. Yeah. I know all the net rating numbers, on-off minutes with him last year were not good. I also know that he played 3 games of college basketball before that year, and he averaged 11 points and nearly 6 rebounds a game without really knowing how to play the professional game.
Right.
And if you his first game at Brooklyn, he had 19 and 8, hit 4 of 5 from 3. He started that game, and the Warriors got demolished, just mollywop. It was not a pretty first 2 games of the regular season last year. Brooklyn.
No, it wasn't. I remember that.
Back to back, yeah. But the initial reaction to James Wiseman was, this kid's the truth. And it just, I know the advanced statistics were not good on him last year. And yes, he looked like he had a lot of learning to do within the system. But this is a kid who, by all accounts, works his tail off and is trying to figure these things out. I think he will come back with not as much of a deer in the headlights look this year. I think.
Right.
But while he hasn't played an NBA game since since that game against the Houston Rockets last year. And like my hope, this is kind of my one thing about that injury. If he was a right-handed guy, I don't think he gets blocked, and I don't think he suffers that injury.
That's crazy.
Which is just, it's unfortunate, right? He's a lefty, he's going to be great, but like if he's a right-handed guy, right-handed dominant from where he's taken off from, like the guy would have had to come across his body to block that shot. And I mean, it's just one of those really kind of freak accident kind of things that unfortunately set him back. And it's not James's fault at all. But it was just one of those things like, oh man, I felt so bad for him. Yeah, I think he plays rotation minutes for sure in the regular season. Now the postseason could be a different thing because traditionally benches get shorter, right? When you go, you're playing 8.5 guys. Maybe a 9th guy gets in there for 8 to 10 minutes in a game. I could see Wiseman getting 8 minutes in the playoffs, 10 minutes for sure. But like, are you really going to go away from, assuming everyone's healthy, Steph, Klay, Draymond, Looney, Wiggins as your top 5? Like that's stuff with the way Kevon Looney has played this year. You can't really like just completely get him off the floor. Like he's too good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think long term, James Wiseman's going to be fine. Like Joel Embiid didn't play his first 2 years in the league, right? Like,
that's a good point, man. That's a good damn point. I did not even think about that.
And he played like 31 games his first season. So, and like people are still like pining for him to be Rookie of the Year that year.
Look at you convincing me to stay on the Wiseman train. That was a great argument, my man. Wow. Look at that.
Like I mean, Ben Simmons didn't play his first year as well. He's not playing this year for entirely different reasons. And
Blake Griffin,
Yeah, Blake Griffin as well. Good. So like, I mean, yes, it is frustrating for James. It is frustrating for fans that he's played 39 games in, now a season and a half. But like, this isn't the first time it's happened with a big guy before. And, those guys we've talked about have all gone on to have great careers. I don't think it's time to sound the alarm long-term. Yes, I want to see James Wiseman sooner rather than later. But
that's you've sold me, man. That like I am now I'm feeling a little better about James Wiseman after you said that, and I just really hope this kid's healthy because 10 years from now we could be looking at part 2 of the dynasty with Kaminga, Wiseman, Moody. Before we talk about Moody to wrap things up, and I know you got to go in just a minute here, I have to play this soundbite because it was just awesome. This was the post game interview where Greenberg talked to Klay Thompson, and just the reason why we all love Klay. So this was following the game. Klay Thompson had a solid game, not spectacular by any means, 15 points, but you could clearly tell that he was slowly coming back. You saw glimpses of the old Klay. And Stephen Curry had another game like that too, where the numbers didn't pop, but they both passed the eye test, right? So here is Klay Thompson speaking with is it Jared Greenberg, I believe, following the Warriors Mavericks game.
BA with the man they call the captain around here, Klay Thompson, embracing it. Klay, it certainly feels as if this was one of the more complete victory guys have had in a long time, and to do it against a team that was playing so well coming into tonight. What's this do for you guys?
Sea captain.
Sea captain.
That's it. Just sea captain. That's it. Just sea captain.
Yeah.
Klay, love you.
That was awesome.
It is, man. And just to finish things up here, I feel like Moses Moody, every time he plays in the G League for Santa Cruz, I see those stat lines, I see the highlights on Twitter. And real quick, if you don't mind, promote the Santa Cruz Warriors Twitter account when you take over here in a second. But what do you think about Moody? Like, should he be playing more? Do you respect Kerr for just keeping him on the bench, even though he's lighting it up in Santa Cruz? Like, give us your thoughts on Moses Moody, please.
Yeah, no. So at G League Warriors on Twitter for your Moses Moody highlights. He's been killing it in the G League. He's been killing it more than I expected him to kill it in the G League. Like, it's only 8 games. I just took down his numbers, but it is in 8 games in the G League, 27.5 points, 5.5 rebounds, 47% from the field, 37 from 3, 90% from the foul line. Like, those are ridiculous numbers. He is, I think I'm fine with the approach to Moses right now. It'd be nice to see him get a few more minutes. I mean, at Memphis, he had a really good game. I want to say he had something like 10 points and 6 rebounds. Someone would need to check me on that. But like in that loss to Memphis, he played well. And It's just, again, like who are you going to give fewer minutes to give to Moses?
Yeah.
And just everyone above him is proven. And it's tough when you're averaging 7 minutes a game and you're a rookie to get more than that. Like, it's one thing, proving yourself in the G League is one thing. Proving yourself in an NBA regular season game is a completely different thing. But I thought I saw some positives from Moses last night in garbage time. Thought it was big for his confidence that he hit a three. Because now, I mean, he's 5 of 34 from three. But I would tell you, if like those 34 threes came in a 6-game span where he was getting 12 minutes a game, or I guess it'd be tough to get up 6 threes a game in 12 minutes. Like, you have to be Klay Thompson, basically. But if those 34 threes that he's taken over the course of this regular season were in a 6-game stretch where he's in more of a rhythm, he wouldn't be 5 of 34 from three. There's too much of a sample size from his year at Arkansas and now in the G League, where he's 37% from the NBA line in the G League. He was 37% from three in Arkansas. Like the 5 of 34, I don't think you can really look into much, because it's tough when you're shooting 1 or 2 threes a game and you're a rookie and this is your first experience playing the NBA. Well, all those shots are going to be off. And like the same, we saw Kaminga, it took a while for him to get his three going. And now that he's getting regular minutes, he's up to 35%. And Moody's shot is more advanced at this stage, I would say, than Kaminga's is. But Kaminga's shot is definitely on the rise. So, it's just one of those things where the percentages aren't going to look good for Moses just because he's not getting consistent minutes. But, like, hitting a three last night was good. He got a couple of rebounds, a couple of tough rebounds. I like that as well from him. Mm-hmm. And when he has played, the Toronto game, I think it was, when they sat basically everyone, started Kaminga, Moody got time, and then had the game in Memphis where he played some good rotation minutes off the bench. It's one of those things where I think it's tough for him to play Moses over other players in the rotation right now.
Yeah, and just from my sense of things, I feel like just Kaminga just so far has a much better grasp of the speed of the game. Like everything just seems to be coming natural to him, and Moody just seems like a step behind Kaminga's pace in the grand scheme of things. That's just from what I'm seeing. But Kevin, man, you're amazing. I hope we do this regularly. Yeah. And people, again, go down to Santa Cruz, man. Like promote real quick. If people want to see a Santa Cruz Warriors game, are there tickets available? Can they? How do people go see the Warriors in Santa Cruz?
Yeah, no, you can go to SantaCruzBasketball.com or the Santa Cruz Warriors website. I think it's 831-714-4400 or 831-713-4400. I think there's 2 different phone numbers. Come on down to a game. Next home game is February 4th against the Rio Grande Valley Vipers. They have Gerald Green on that team right now. He came out of retirement and tried to make an NBA comeback. That's Houston's G League affiliate. Now, he didn't play last night. Santa Cruz actually got smoked by the Vipers by 24. But they got some interesting players. They'll have like Usman Garuba, who's their first-round pick, on assignment. They have some interesting guys on that team. Trevlin Queen, Dacian Nix, they're 2-way guys. Dacian Nix was Jonathan Kuminga's teammate on Ignite last year. And they're still, like, I want to say, got probably 13, 14 home games left. So plenty of chances to come see the C-Dubs.
I'm going to try to do it for sure. Seems like an amazing family affair. I'm bringing the step kid with me. I took him to his first Warriors game recently, and all my pro surfer buddies in Santa Cruz, they rave about the Santa Cruz Warriors. They're like, they're going to the games, and so I'm going to go with some of them soon. I'll reach out to you to help me out, hopefully. And tell your partner, Drew Schiller, I want him on, man. Like, for some reason, the vibe I'm getting from him when he does message me back is like, well, I'm not covering the Warriors, so he doesn't feel like he's an expert. It's like, dude, you're Drew Schiller, man. Come on, dude. I could care less how much you're following them. But your personality, and you're funny, and you're insightful. You two have a great partnership there. And again, you sometimes cover for Tim Roy. And I love hearing you cover the Warriors. I really think you're the future of the team when it comes to the broadcasting side. So all the best to you, man. Keep it going. And again, hopefully I'll see you soon down at Santa Cruz, and hopefully we'll see you back on the program again. Anything else you want to promote besides you can follow Kevin Danna on Twitter at Kevo408. Anything else you want to promote before we wrap things up?
We're on NBC Sports Bay Area Plus tomorrow night, 5:30, taking on the Rio Grande Valley Vipers again. So, before the Minnesota game, you can catch the first half of the Santa Cruz game, then turn on back to 780 if you have Xfinity, like me. That's the HD channel of NBC Sports Bay Area. Plus, I don't know what it is on other cable providers, but yeah,
it's on Hulu, I think. So you guys are on Hulu. That's how I watch my content.
Nice.
And I love it. So yeah, and you can watch Kevin for the TV broadcast and so much more. Thank you so much, man. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Cyrus. Thanks for having me on. I'd be happy to do it again.
Absolutely. And congrats, Dub Nation, for a great win last night. Dieter will take the helm tomorrow, and I'll be back on Friday. Till then, take care. Later.